Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Welcome, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Is that a cat in the background?
That's a cat.
I got a couple cats fighting in the background, too.
Oh,
Bruce, I got a wicked sore throat. I've had it
okay.
2 days, and it's finally letting up a little bit, so I think I can make it through this. I mean, I could hardly talk.
Yeah.
It's like that time of year, I guess. He's already complaining about the play of the Oilers tonight. Bruce, the Oilers have now had 2 stinkers in 3 games. I'm going to make a little argument at the end that it's time for some change in the lineup. I don't think they're going to do it based on Coach Dave Tippett's post-game comments. But this team, it needs an injection of skill and speed, and they have it. So the Oilers lost 6-2 today to the. What did they lose to, Bruce?
Powerhouse Florida Panthers.
Yeah, Florida Panthers. The memorable Florida Panthers. Team so memorable, I've forgotten them already. They've got some talent on that team. They're not a bad team. They've got a good goalie.
Oh, yeah.
Their goalie made the saves. So we're going to do our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. Bruce, before I want to start, though, I want to give a shout-out to faithful Cult of Hockey listener Curtis Pick. I think it's Pick, P-Y-C-K, at London Drugs, who sold me this, Bruce, Look at this contraption I've got.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So, should improve the sound quality from my end, and he says he'll give you the same deal that I got if you go there and want to set yourself up.
I'll talk to you off air about that.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this sounds. I think it sounds good so far.
Sounds good in the earbuds for sure.
Yeah. All right. What's your good thing?
Well, my good thing, a part of my good thing is I didn't have to watch the whole game. I was driving back from the Jasper Dark Sky Preserve, so I listened front to back on the radio and caught the end of the game. And then I went through and I looked at the scoring chances that you'd compiled and a few other key moments that I listened to, and I thought, I want to see what happened there. So full disclosure, I haven't seen every second of the action. I do think I have a taste for what that game was like. My good thing is Mike Smith in the first 7 minutes of the first period. Jack Michaels was describing who the puck was going to and so on. And I think I heard the name of every Florida skater except Sergei Bobrovsky. And I heard the name of one Oiler, Mike Smith, who was the only one that was involved in making any plays at the time. And he was making saves. He was fighting off pucks. He was struggling to keep the Oilers in the game. And they weren't all like 10-bell chances, but the puck was around them, and there were scrambles galore that were taking place in around the cage. And Smith at least showed up for the beginning of the game, and it sounded and appeared like he was about the only Oiler who was ready.
Yeah, he was okay at the start of the game. There was just I thought they were kind of mainly grade B stuff, but he was pretty good. And he was ready to play. No one else was ready to play. Nonetheless, Florida wasn't exactly flying either early in the game. In the first period overall, it was fairly even. But Smith came out and
the shots were 7-0 by the 7-minute mark of the game, and some of them were pretty tricky shots. And
fair enough.
Puck was in Edmonton's end the whole time.
The Oilers came out in the second half of the first period, I should say, is what happened. And they got some. I mean, Draisaitl had that great breakaway chance, and did anyone else have a breakaway chance? Jujhar Khaira actually had a scoring chance shot.
Amazing.
So the celebrations, I had predicted, Bruce, I'd gone way, way out on a limb and predicted
saw that.
And I was, of course, wrong. Couldn't have been more wrong. That was the only grade A scoring chance shot. I got my cats in the back.
Okay.
Playing with the packaging of this microphone.
Oh, okay.
It was their only grade A scoring chance shot for that bottom 6. And, wow. Those guys they're not coming close. So my good thing is the top players on the team. I actually thought that, Klefbom had 27 minutes. Nurse and Bear, played a ton. McDavid, Draisaitl. James Neal scored a goal. It was funny. James Neal was taken off the top unit of the power play, and the second he gets put back out there, he finds a way to score. I wouldn't be looking at replacing James Neal on that top unit. Maybe Oscar Klefbom for Ethan Bear, but not James Neal. Yeah, I thought the top players, other than I didn't think Nugent Hopkins had a particularly good game. He was pretty quiet, but the other guys, McDavid was flying out there. He was in on 4 grade A scoring chances, pretty good. For if we're comparing him to an average NHL player who might be in on 1 or 2, that's really good. So there was the only moment of the top guys that I'm going to pick on is on the first goal, and Leon Draisaitl's back check was so weak. Like Louis didn't name him. Louis DeBrusque didn't name him on the broadcast.
They did on the radio.
He did. He did. He did mention there was nothing wrong in that play. It was structurally okay. Everyone was covering positionally except that last guy coming in. No one was on him. Well, it's because Leon was sometimes Leon will do this. He will be, there's talk of him being the Selke Trophy in the Selke Trophy running. Have you heard that, Bruce?
Oh yeah.
And like 90% of it
to be a Selke.
Yeah, I'd say
winner.
He's got
some detail to pay attention to.
Yeah,
he does a lot of stuff right, and then he has these occasions where I'd still say he thinks like a striker in soccer, and sometimes he back checks like a striker in soccer, and he's got to get away from that. Anyway, on that same goal, I thought McDavid's back check was pretty weak, and I'm going to make that case when reviewing the scoring chances.
Oh, yeah, maybe
the guy just came right through the middle of the ice, and he just kind of let him go. But that was not a good shift for the boys.
Yeah. What was your bad thing in the game?
Well, I'm going to say Mike Smith in the opening minutes of the second period, when he came out and made 0 saves on 3 shots. And he got hit. I think he got hit right in the protective cup late in the first period, and he went down and stayed down. And Ethan Bear saved what looked like a sure goal on the rebound. And the ref, for whatever reason, when the goalie was down, I thought it was 100% cut and dried. The goalie's down, you blow the whistle, right? Other guys, maybe the play goes on away from them. When the goalie's down, because the other team is trying to funnel pucks into where the goalie is, it's dangerous. But hey, it's only Edmonton, so let's let play go on for 2 minutes while the goalie is writhing on the ice. Anyway, but he came out in the second period, and he just didn't look himself. And I thought, you could say they're grade A, borderline grade A, grade B chances, but I didn't really think he looked good on any of those goals. Ekblad beat him on the short side. Boyle went right across the goal mouth. Smith was down early on his knees, and he couldn't react. Couldn't. As Boyle went across, all he could do was lay on the ice and leave the top of the net open. And then on the third goal, I frankly thought it was a B shot from the face-off circle that beat him clean, and then Tippett takes him out. Well, then the game is already over. So
the third one I think was a screenshot by Bear.
I'll give it a harder look.
Yeah,
when I officially review this.
I thought it was a B shot as well. And then I saw, oh no, Ethan Bear, like right as he was shooting, Bear quickly moves across the goalie's line of vision, and then the puck's on him. The same with the
they need a save on one of those shots.
The first goal, I thought I think someone might have screened that one too, the first goal. The second one was just terrible defensive play by
3 guys that did nothing. That was brutal. That could be my bad thing. Just that one goal alone. Kara, Benning, and Manning were all out to lunch on the back check. I was watching the goal, and I was saying to my wife when reviewing the replay, I said, "Oh man, Benning out to lunch, Kara out to lunch, Manning out to lunch. They all lost battles," I said to her. And then I looked at your grading of the scoring chances, and you have 26 battle lost, 83 battle lost, 16 battle lost. And I thought, yep, David saw the exact same play I did.
Because they were all there to battle, and none of them did. They
did squat. All 3 of them. It's brutal. It's brutal.
in the game grades, I wrote that they were all puck watching instead of puck battling. And it was
Basically, yeah.
painfully slow, right? The
Oh,
whole thing kind
yeah.
of like Boyle himself is
When
kind of
Brian
slow.
Boyle walks across your zone, I mean, he's among the slowest players in the game. When he can walk across your zone and have such a clean chance that he can hold the puck while your goalie takes himself down and out and still hold the puck and get a shot with nobody around him, chances are your defensive players may have messed up at some point.
Bruce, this segues into my bad thing, which is the whole bottom end of the roster. Did one of those guys, none of them got a passing grade, and this includes Benning and Manning because they're in the bottom end, and the bottom six forwards. And Tippett was saying in the post game thing, well, they're down on themselves, they're pressing, and but they'll get it. I mean, once it gets going, they're going to get it together. Like, I'm not so sure
What's
it's
he
going to.
seeing?
I'm not so sure it's going to get going, Bruce. I think they need to have. So they kind of have a skilled third line in Granlund, Yurcho, and Gagne, right? Like those are three skilled players. In theory, that should be your skill line, right? Third skill line. But I mean, I didn't mind Gagne's game, even though I thought he was really weak on the one goal.
Where he
The third
slapped it
goal.
back into the zone
Yeah,
and
well, Bear's
Ethan Bear threw it
waiting,
up the
waiting,
boards to him.
waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where's Gagne? Like, hustle back, man. But anyway, Gagne, I want to see more of him before I comment on his overall player, but because he was doing well in the AHL. But listen, they've got Cooper Marody. He's not a kid. He's good to go. He can skate and make passes and shoot and shots. Kailer Yamamoto, who's 21. He had he had kind of a half year in the AHL last year, but he's been in the AHL. I'm not so like with defensemen. I really do believe in over ripening. With forwards, I'm not so sure. Like if you're good to go on the attack, if you can attack, you can be 19 and attack. You can be 20. And I see older players not back check all the time as well and screw it up. So I'm not so hyper about forwards getting a chance at a younger age. And Yamamoto is 21. He's not 19 or 20 as he was the first two times. If he's this Oiler bottom six needs an infusion of talent, Bruce. And they've got to get another puck mover. When you have Manning and Benning together, the offense dries up when they're out there. You can even have them out there with McDavid and the offense drives up. They've got now maybe Joel Pearson's going to get help. They'll solve this that way. It's the most likely thing to happen. But I watched the game the other night and last night in Bakersfield. Caleb Jones is flying out there. He'd be way better with Matt Benning, way better than Brandon Manning. So that's my take on it. I think this is getting into the part of organizational error because Caleb Jones is ready to go. Like he's had 2 full years, played well in the NHL on a third pairing last year. Why is Brandon Manning in there right now? So.
Yeah, well, because he came in when they had 2 guys hurt because he was hanging around and because he didn't play badly for a few games or the team didn't give up any goals and so they didn't see any reason to change up. But they have a reason to change up after today's game because he had a real tough game today. And they have a few reasons to change up at other positions too. But I expect we'll see Brandon Manning on the sidelines next game. And
probably Lagesson in the game, maybe your person.
Yeah. So, and meanwhile, you talk about the bottom forwards. I mean, up front we have if you look at goal differential, and we'll use imperfect plus minus because it includes especially empty net goals, which are killers. But you have Connor McDavid +7, Leon Draisaitl +6 at the top of the lineup, and then you look at the bottom of the lineup, and you've got Riley Sheehan -8, Jujhar Khaira -7. They're giving them all back. They're getting beat. They're giving up a half goal a game, or and
like how does that project over a whole season?
Zero
That's
and
like
0 points for both guys.
Yeah,
and it's it's not like they're at least battling the other guy to a draw because they're not. They're getting outscored.
Yeah,
so it's not good. It's not good. That line's been very disappointing.
Yeah, I've been raising this since the start that I seeing them together off and on. I just think they're too slow together. Like one of them might work, and one of them is Sheehan. It's not Jujhar. Here's a question for you, Bruce. If they sent him down to the minors, which I think they should do based on performance, do you think another team would take him?
With a 2-year contract at $1.2 million? Maybe someone would because I think there's a um, let's see a big tough guy at 25 years old that he just is. I mean, in theory, experienced NHL player now that should be entering his prime. They might. At the same time, I don't think it's a slam dunk that someone would, but probably out of 30 teams, someone would see something there. I mean, I see something there, but I sure haven't been seeing it this year. I have
Didn't
not been
see it
seeing
much
it this
last year,
year.
honestly, Bruce. So if someone did take him and he is, like you say, he's earning 1 million too.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know.
Yep.
Like, am I ready to give up on the player? That's a good question. What I think they should do, what I would prefer they do actually, is put him in the press box for 3 or 4 games and play somebody else, and then give him another chance, one more chance, and see what happens then. I think that would be the sounder move. And
Right.
then if he doesn't do it then send him to Bakersfield. You take your chances then.
Hmm.
But Keller Yamamoto, not to harp on it, but I am. Um, he looks outstanding in the AHL right now. He's fast, can make plays. Um, Nygaard will be back. That's going to help. Haas can skate it at the NHL level. I just want to see more effort, skill, everything like from that. Cooper Marody can make plays. I'd love to see this is me, of course. I'm always pushing for that kid line, right, of skilled players, but it can work. And so they have these players, and Yurcho's not getting it done. Granlund's not getting it done. Why not try it? You can't tell me if you brought up a line of Marody and Yamamoto and I don't know. I don't think Tyler Benson's he's not off to a great start this year, but one other guy Patrick Russell, put him on that line, see how it does. I think that'd be exciting. And I think it would. I think that line for 2 or 3 games would really give them something, and maybe one of them would stick.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, they're 8-3-1, so they're probably reluctant to rush anybody. But based on what we saw this week, uh, the early roll is over, and now it's game by game. They were very fortunate to pick up 2 points out of 3 games
Yeah,
this week. Very fortunate because in each game they gave up 3 goals in rapid succession. In each game they lost an entire period by 3 goals to 0. So you're lucky you didn't lose all 3 games.
exactly. It's and 2 out of 3 stinker games. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a real signal. When you have a stinker game, if it's just
You
like
shouldn't
one
have
in
another
10,
one anytime soon. Yeah.
that's right. It should be another 2 weeks, right? And so that speaks to me of a lack of talent. It's not just
Right.
that the team's flat. It's just they have people who can't execute. So bring in somebody who can, because they have Caleb Jones and they have Yamamoto. These kids, they can execute. They do it, and they will do it when they come in, I believe.
Well, Holland's philosophy, I think, is that when those guys come back up, he doesn't want to have to ever send them back down, so he wants to be sure. No, you can agree or disagree with that, but I think that's his approach.
Sure, just call up one then. Call up Marodi or Yamamoto. Um, if you're worried about Yamamoto's sensitivities, call up Marodi. He's a really good player too. And see what happens. And play Lagesson or Pearson. My number. Have we done our numbers yet? My number
Nope.
is Manning's in 10 minutes of ice time. Even 10 minutes of ice time, Bruce. He made 4 major mistakes on grade A scoring chances against. Yeah, that's a you and I know what that means. Like so, for fans who don't understand, like
Well, if he scored a hat trick, we might forgive it, right?
that's exactly right. For a really good NHL defenseman is going to make at least one on average. He's going to probably make
Yeah.
one
Oh,
major
sure. They
mistake
get beat.
on a
They get
grade A
beat.
chances against. It happens. They're in a tough position. They're asked to do a lot, and they're against the best players in the world. One, then they might make two. But if
Right.
you're like in a bottom pairing playing those kinds of minutes and you make 4 in 10 minutes, I gave him a 2. And if there had been another goal on one of those chances against, it probably would have been a 1. So not a great game. What's your number?
Oh boy, so many to choose from. But I'm going to go with 5, which is the number of times this week that the Oilers gave up a goal within 90 seconds of having given up a previous goal. 5 times this week, right? 2 games in a row, they gave up the first goal in Minnesota, the second goal 75 seconds later. Against Washington, first goal, they gave up the second goal 47 seconds later. Today, they gave up the first goal. They gave up the second goal after a minute 27 seconds, so 87 seconds later, and followed that up with a third goal just 38 seconds after the second one. And then just to icing on the cake, in the last minute after the empty net goal, they gave up yet another goal just about a minute after the empty netter. And on top of that, 2 goals within the beginning of period. So not responding, not being ready, and just not reacting positively to adversity, which early in the season they were doing a great job of getting goals back when they gave them up. Now they're piling up, not just one at a time, but 2 and even 3 goals against in rapid succession. And that is a recipe for disaster, as we well know. We've seen it too many times for too many years, David.
And you can't count on like .925 goaltending all year, can you? I mean, it's just
no.
It's not going to come. I mean, Koskinen really has looked bloody good this year. The wraparound goal, he let in the odd one. That wraparound goal was bad.
It was a slick play by Dadonov, but yeah,
very fast. But it's just the goalie's.
He didn't get his paddle down fast enough, and
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, Bruce. So what? I've been kind of rambling about changes that I might make. Here's I'll try to simplify it and see if you agree with me or not. Okay, so you have Lagesson in town, right? He's been in town a long time.
Hasn't played a game.
So the simplest thing to do is, if Persson isn't healthy, put in Lagesson for Manning. Just do it.
Next game I'd be doing that for sure. 100%.
So the second simplest thing to do is, if Persson's healthy, put him back in for Manning. Put him with Klefbom and put Russell again with Benning. The forward lines, Gaetan Haas, I think, is the only forward who's healthy, who's in town, who didn't play.
Oh.
So I would take out Jujhar Khaira and move Granlund to the wing and put in Haas.
Okay.
Apparitions. And I would so Haas and
Poltergeist.
Those are the simple things. And I would really seriously think, and I think they are seriously thinking this. Kurt Levens, he's the Cult of Hockey's insider. He was kind of telegraphing it today, I thought, a little bit. That Yamo may be recalled really soon. I think I'm just guessing if Kurt's heard something. And I suspect we're going to see Yamamoto up. And I would put him in. So you take out Jujhar Khaira, and then you could also take out Yurcho and put in Yamamoto, and you're good to go.
Yeah, well, all I can tell you is that today, Florida, I think these guys can all be called bottom 6 forwards. Brian Boyle, goal. Nola Cherry, goal. Jace Horlak, goal. So 3 goals from their bottom 6 in one game, whereas the Oilers have basically the one from the injured Joachim Nygaard so long ago that most people have forgotten that they even got one. And that's it for the entire season, 12 games. I mean, that was 10 games ago. 10 games in a row the bottom 6 has done. Nothing.
No
goals,
nothing.
No points. Just nothing.
Nothing. All right. When do they play next, Bruce? Tuesday,
Wednesday, Detroit and Columbus. Back-to-back nights on the road. And so they will be, assuming that Mike Smith is not physically damaged in any way, they'll be splitting the goaltending in those 2 games. It's their first back-to-back of the year, so it would be a bad time for a goalie issue, especially with Shane Sterrett being injured in the minors. So
they'll probably go with Koskinen and then Smith.
I would imagine. I honestly don't know why they went with Smith today. Tippett said he was setting up the week, but you could set up the week the same way by using the goalie that's won 5 in a row. Just saying. I just didn't get that.
Is this the first time they've strayed from their?
Yes. Yeah, and Koskinen hasn't lost. He hasn't even lost a point. So why wouldn't you? I mean, he's second in this rotation fine. If the rotation you think is working, keep the rotation, but you don't stray from the rotation to go back to the guy that's lost his last two games. Like, I don't really get that one, but whatever.
Yeah, and like in most losses, Bruce, the Oilers had second best goaltending tonight. Bobrovsky made a number of really good saves, including on some breakaways.
Bobrovsky.
They pay enough for the guy. You better make some saves for them. So.
Yep, Bobrovsky. He may be my greatest prediction ever. We had a guest at the red wine. I don't know what was it called? The Diet Coke Summit that we had, that you and I were at with a few other people.
Yeah.
Predict your free agent, and I was thrown in my court, and I just said Bobrovsky, Florida, 7 years, 10 million. Just boom, and 100% correct. Like, that never happens to me, at least, but it happened that time. So I won a free Diet Coke, I think.
All right. Okay, Bruce. Hey, how was your weekend in Jasper?
It was well. Jasper is so gorgeous, and we got to stay in Jasper Park Lodge. It's the cheeriest volunteer gig that I'm personally involved in. Expense paid weekend at Jasper Park Lodge, so just volunteering time, But the weather, the skies were very, very iffy all weekend, so we didn't really get to do what we set out to do, which was share the night sky with our adoring public under dark skies. We just mostly were shooting through holes in the clouds and not seeing the sky in its full glory, that's for sure. But that's always a risk, we're at the mercy of the weather always. So, but it was good.
Is there a time of year where the sky tends to be clearer than at other times, or not?
Yeah. Well, usually the fall is pretty good. November when it starts to go to pot. This year, just to follow the calendar, the Jasper Dark Sky Festival was very late in October, but I'm not sure that it would have been, just weather-wise. It's been a tough year period. It's been cloudy a lot this year. So
yeah. Alrighty, cloudy. Let's leave it there, Bruce. Thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.